Hi guys, my name is Aaron from Eshua Pig Farms. Here I try to share my experience to help especially new farmers or beginner farmers so they don't fall into the pitfalls I found myself in when I started this pig farm. When we are talking about pigs gaining weight fast without sinking a hole in your pocket, three important nutrients come into mind. Proteins help the animals to build muscles. The second nutrient is energy. It's made up of carbohydrates and fats and oils, and they contribute to the general weight gain and the fat of your animal. Then thirdly, we have vitamins and minerals. Now what these help the animals use the feed you have given them well. Without the right balance, your pigs won't grow as fast as you want, which means that you're going to lose a lot of money. So how do you balance them? That pigs have different nutritional needs at different stages. If you don't understand the nutritional requirements of your animals, you will be digging a big hole in your pocket. So first, there are three stages of growth. The first stage of growth is what we call the starter phase, from birth till about 8 weeks. Now at this phase, the animal needs a lot of protein. Research shows that they need between 18 and 23% crude protein in their diet, and this 18 to 23% crude protein should contribute a lysine content of about 1.4 to 1.6%. They require a lot of energy, between 3,300 and then 3,500 kilocalories per kg. They need the vitamins and the minerals to help them take more of the feed and use it well so that they can grow. Baby piglets need high protein and high energy because they are developing organs and their bodies are growing rapidly. Feed you give them must have the nutrients available, which means the feed should be easily digestible, because their internal organs are not fully formed. Many farmers will go for commercial feeds. This is a very critical phase, and so I would also advise that if you're just starting, go for commercial creep feed and commercial starters for these animals. At least help them develop their organs before you introduce your own feeding. When it is that the animals have increased in size, why? Because they are growing very fast at this point. So what should be your goal when you are feeding animals at the grower phase? Your goal is to get them to develop a lot of lean muscle or lean meat with a little fat. How do you achieve that? 16 to 18% protein, and then 3,100 to 3,300 kilocalories of energy per kg. If you want to give them commercial feeds solely at this phase, it will eat into your pockets. You can consider formulating your feed. A general guideline will be to use 65% of corn, 25% of SBM. You can do 8 kg of PKC, then 2 kg of minerals, and then vitamins and salts. They should grow fine on these. One quick tip at this particular phase is that you can choose to slightly ferment their feed so that they can take more of it and also help their guts to be healthy. When animals have a good gut, they don't get sick very fast. At the finisher phase, that is 16 weeks to about 24 weeks, the goal is to give the animal a lot of energy at this point. They need just about 14 to 16% protein. Protein is what actually makes your feed very expensive. Their stomachs are also developed to digest fiber, and so you can do a mix of about, let's say, 55% corn, then you can do soybean meal. That gives you what? That gives you about 80%. Then you can do 15% PKC to supply the fiber, and then 5% will go for the vitamins, the minerals, and then the salts. Okay, so now that we know about the phases and the requirements, what actually is make your animals grow fast? Before I answer this question, let me state this. The main challenge that farmers have is how to balance growth with cost. If you know how to meet the nutritional requirements that we have just discussed for the different stages, you can source for materials around you which are relatively cheaper. For example, on this farm, sometimes I mix my maize with cerelac waste to supply the energy. because I know that my cerelac waste contains about 3,800 to 4,000 kilocalories of energy. So it's able to help me cut costs. Not all fast-growing feeds are affordable, and not all cheap feeds will make your animals grow fast. Let's take a few examples. Soybean meal is very high in protein, but it's expensive. PKC is very cheap, but most of the nutrients in the PKC are trapped in the fiber, and so the animals are not able to use them very well. This is where smart farming comes in, also the performance of your animal. Real world feeding strategy. So what's the feeding plan that works? Now we're going to talk about feeding the animals in phases. So like I said earlier, you can start with commercial starter feeds, pellets. You phase them into the grower feeds. You can do 60 energy, that is corn, 25% soybean meal. Then you do 12.5% corn bran, because that's cheaper than the maize. Then you can also do 2.5 of vitamins and mineral salts to make up 100 kg of feed, or 100% of your feed formulation at the grower phase. Then you move to the finisher phase, where you introduce a lot of fiber into the feed to reduce the cost of your feed without sacrificing growth. If you want better results, especially if you are using PKC, you may want to add enzymes to help them work on the fiber so that the nutrients in the PKC are available to your animals. Okay, so what's the conclusion? The conclusion is that there is no right or best feed, one best feed for a farm, but the best feed is the one that works for you and is also friendly to your pocket without making your farm run into losses. And if you follow the guidelines that I have provided, you should be able to attain these results. If you found this video helpful, give us a like and a thumbs up. It really goes a long way to help this channel. I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and do have a wonderful day.